Right now at 9 o'clock, we begin this hour under a weather impact alert with millions across the Northeast bracing for a winter storm that could bring blizzard-like conditions to our north and wet snow accumulation to the DMV. And right now, the majority of our area is seeing rain with a change over to snow expected in the next few hours. Good morning and thanks so much for joining us this Sunday morning. I'm Matthew Torres bringing you a special hour of extended weather alert coverage ahead of this upcoming storm. And we got you covered with team coverage tracking the scope, magnitude, and path of this incoming weather system, keeping you safe and prepared from road conditions to the possibility of power outages and beyond. We begin with our coverage with meteorologist Daniel Johnson with us this morning. Dan, here we go again.
Here we go again. Yeah, a messy start to your Sunday. Luckily, we're not expecting the snow creep that we had with that storm back in January. It's just going to be a heavy wet snow today. Of course, there are negatives to both kinds of storms, but this one definitely going to cause some issues later on today as we see the transition over to some snow. We're also expecting that snow to transition later this evening, so we'll time it out for you as we go through the broadcast today. Right now it's snowing off to the north and off to the west, but we're also seeing plain rain in the immediate metro. But you can see out west along 81, some of the higher elevations, that's where we're seeing that snow. So it's going to snow there first and then eventually transition into the immediate metro. So how much snow? That's the big question. Well, I know there's no snow out there right now, and we're only expecting snow for about 6 hours or so from this evening and into tonight, but it's going to come down at a heavy clip. So that's why we're expecting around 3 to 6 inches of snow for most of us. As you move off to the northeast, if you live in Anne Arundel County, close to Baltimore, we're talking 6 inches or more. If you live down in Fredericksburg, Orange, Luray, probably just anywhere between 1 to 3 inches. And the good news with this snow compared to the storm we had in January, this one's not going to stick around as long because temperatures will warm up compared to last time when it got really cold and that cold air stuck around. So snow out west for the next few hours, rain for most of us, and then eventually this evening by 4 p.m. or 5, most if not all of us, snow. The winds will pick up, the snow continues through midnight. Then it gets out of here, and we could even see some peaks of sun by Monday afternoon with highs right around 40 degrees, but it'll be a windy and chilly Monday as well, and roads will be slippery, especially as you wake up early. So we're recommending to stay off the roads tonight and Monday morning. I'll come back in a couple of minutes with more details on the forecast and your 7-day.
All right, Daniel, thank you so much. And of course, you can rely on WUSA9 to track the conditions in your neighborhood. Our Melissa Kim has been in the Weather Commander all morning long. Hey, Melissa, I think you were on your way to Montgomery County. Where are you now and what's it looking like over there?
Yeah, good morning, Matthew. We have made our way over, as you mentioned, to Montgomery County. We're like in the north of Bethesda area right now. We're about to, let me turn the camera around. Turn on to Old Georgetown Road. We're right by Pike and Rose, and we're about to make a left up there onto Rockville Pike to see what the main roads look like, at least in the Rockville, North Bethesda area. And the thing is it is still very slick. The rain definitely picked up quite a bit on our way here from Prince George's County. We were previously at the University of Maryland, and look, the roads are slick. All right, we know that for sure. So definitely take your time if you need to be out this morning. And as you see, this is normally a pretty busy road. Again, we're on Old Georgetown, about to turn onto Rockville Pike. Not a lot of folks out on a Sunday morning, which is good news for the most part. Everyone's heating the weather and staying inside, being nice and warm and not wet and gross outside, as we mentioned earlier. But again, if you do need to be out at all in the next 24 to 36 hours or so, definitely err on the side of earlier rather than later. If you got to get some Sunday morning errands done, got to grab your coffee, your Sunday morning breakfast, church, whatever you got to do this morning, definitely on the earlier side rather than later. Now, I did see that the Maryland State Highway Administration, they said they are prepared and ready to go for anything that happens. And some of the entities, they're not brining the roads like we saw in the last snowstorm in January because, again, there is rain and that would wash away a lot of the brine. So I think we're kind of in a wait and see mode in terms of things like that. But again, there are a lot of entities, departments of transportation around our area on standby for those things. Maryland Governor Wes Moore has declared a state of preparedness. So Maryland, at least, seems like they are saying they are ready to go in case anything happens. Matthew, back to you.
Looks pretty yucky out there. Melissa Kim tracking road conditions for us this morning. Thank you. We're also taking a live look at 395 in Virginia, where officials are answering some common questions ahead of the storm. First, roads will not be brined because of the rain, as you heard from Melissa. Two crews will only plow neighborhoods, if at least 2 inches of snow accumulates, and only after interstates, primary and secondary roads are cleared. The state's plow tracker will also only be activated if snow totals reach 2 inches or more. It's not just the DMV being impacted by the storm. Tens of millions of people across the Northeast are bracing this morning for winter storm or blizzard conditions, with some forecasts calling for as much as 20 inches of snow in New York City. Here's a live look at Times Square right now, courtesy of EarthCam, whereas CBS News' Christian Benavides reports officials are already declaring a state of emergency.
Across the Northeast, millions of Americans are preparing for another winter blast. There was a pre-storm mad dash at this grocery store on New York's Long Island.
Again?
My son texts me and says, "Mom, do you have food?" I said, "No." So he said, "You better rush, go shopping."
New York City is loading up more than 700 salt spreaders and turning over 2,000 garbage trucks into snowplows. Conditions are forecasted to be more dangerous than the last storm.
Our city will face its second snowstorm in less than a month and our first blizzard since 2016. We are now expecting between 13 to 17 inches of snow, but there is a slight chance we may see up to 20 inches, if not more.
The state's governor, Kathy Hochul, declared a state of emergency.
This could be an historic storm, and the vulnerability is great.
Across the river in New Jersey, where wind gusts could reach up to 55 miles per hour, a state of emergency will also be in effect.
These are very dangerous driving conditions, so please plan to stay off the roads. We're taking precautions, we're making preparations.
In Connecticut, the city of Hartford is still cleaning up from the last storm.
Here we go again. I mean, we're still dealing with the snow that we have. Now it's going to be snow on top of snow.
More than 6,000 flights have already been canceled, with the storm forecasted to impact travel from Baltimore through New England. Christian Benavides, CBS News.
And with another winter storm hitting our region, now is a good time to download our free WUSA9 app if you haven't already. We made it easy for you. Just scan the QR code on your screen, then get our latest forecast at your fingertips whenever you need it. You can also use the Near Me feature to share or view video of the weather in your neighborhood. Well, this incoming storm has already grounded thousands of flights, but as we head into week 2 of the partial government shutdown, we'll take a look at other airport services being impacted. Plus, as we head to break, here is a live look over the district. Our weather impact alert coverage continues in just a few minutes. As we enter week 2 of the partial government shutdown, travelers could soon feel the impact at airports nationwide. The Department of Homeland Security says it is suspending TSA PreCheck and global entry, moves that could mean longer security lines for millions of flyers. The programs are designed to help speed registered travelers through security lines. DHS says it is prioritizing standard screening as funding remains stalled. The partial government shutdown began last week after Democrats and the White House were unable to reach a deal on legislation to fund DHS. Well, you may want to savor your next bottle of Topo Chico because the brand will soon be under a nationwide shortage. Coca-Cola, which owns the carbonated mineral water brand, sent a letter to distributors warning of production stoppages due to well water quality concerns in Monterrey, Mexico. Officials say the production pause will allow for facility upgrades to maintain quality control and that the popular beverage will return shelves later this year. Here's a live look at conditions in Virginia. If you have errands to run, early morning is the best time to head out. Meteorologist Dan Johnson is back with the forecast to help you plan out your day. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes.
This WUSA9 Weather Impact Alert is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us as we stream our broadcast and talk about the latest update to this winter storm. Right now, just plain rain, and that's what we're going to see for the next several hours. A few spots already seeing some snow mixing in. It's been snowing out across portions of 66 and 81, especially in the higher elevations. A little bit of snow trying to mix in north of Baltimore and around Frederick, but most of us seeing plain rain. And again, that will be the case for the next few hours until this evening. That's when we're going to see that rain transition to a heavy wet snow right around dinner time here in the metro. Weather impact alert will go into effect at noon today and expire 6 a.m. on Monday. Try to limit your drive time today. If you want to get any errands done, I would definitely go over the next few hours and then try to stay inside by dinner time and through your Monday morning because roads will get hazardous later on tonight as that snow falls. So for the next several hours, just plain rain, maybe mixing with some flakes by 1 or 2. It doesn't transition completely to snow until around 5 o'clock here in the immediate metro, and then it snows for several hours into the overnight period. Winter weather advisories in effect for the immediate DC metro, and then we have winter storm warnings off to the northwest and off to the northeast, and even some spots to the south and east. southern Maryland under a winter storm warning for accumulating snow later on today. But where it's snowing right now, out to the west is where it's going to stay for a little bit longer. And then, as we mentioned, Futurecast does show the transition to snow around 4 or 5 p.m. It continues to snow through the midnight hour. Then it's out of here. So it is a quick mover, but it's going to snow heavy for several hours. And that will be enough to give us at least a few inches of snow, causing some of that hazardous travel. Maybe some peaks of sun by Monday afternoon. So how much snow? Well, a general 3 to 6 inches. I'm leaning toward the lower side, at least in D.C. itself. Then higher totals as you lift north toward Frederick, Westminster, even higher totals toward Annapolis and across the bay. Lower totals as you head south toward Fredericksburg and Orange County. Your 7-day forecast. Well, we are talking about a warm-up. It won't happen until Wednesday, though. It's still quite chilly through Tuesday. A good amount of sunshine on Tuesday as well. So even with chilly temperatures in the 30s, it's going to be nice with that sun. And we're going to see the snow melting even on Tuesday with temperatures in the 30s. And then a lot of snow melt by Wednesday and especially Thursday and Friday. On Wednesday, we're talking low to mid 50s, right around 50 Thursday, Friday. But it does come with rain for Thursday and Friday. It looks to be a afternoon rain Thursday, continuing into early Friday morning. And hey, check out next weekend. Never too early to do that, right? Right now, it looks sunny on Saturday with high temperatures in the mid to perhaps upper 50s. By then, most, if not all of the snow should be gone. But we are under that weather impact alert for the next several hours here this afternoon through Monday morning. Again, heavy wet snow. That rain will transition to snow as we get toward dinner time. So again, we're not expecting that snow until later on today, but it will cause hazardous travel later on this evening and into tonight. Matthew.
Brace for the cold on Monday as well. Thank you, Daniel. As we continue to track the impact and scale of this winter weather system, we want to answer your questions about how local officials are preparing for the storm. Maryland Governor Wes Moore has already declared a state of preparedness, directing the Departments of Emergency Management, Law Enforcement, and Transportation to work together in a coordinated effort to anticipate and respond swiftly to whatever this winter weather may dish out. And joining us now is Director Chris Conklin from the Montgomery County Department of Transportation for a look at how his county is preparing this morning. Thank you so much for being with us. Can you just give us an overview of what the county's snow preparation plan is for today?
Absolutely. So we have a preparation call, our last preparation call before the event at 10 o'clock this morning, where we'll have all the elements of the Department of Transportation and other county officials together to talk through any adjustments to the plan. The forecast is pretty much following what we've planned for, so we're ready to go for this storm. And then around noon, our crews will all report and get ready for snow operations. And we'll be bringing in additional contractors around 2 o'clock to amplify our ability to plow the snow should we need to plow. It looks like this will be a plowable event for most of the county.
Sounds like we have additional resources there in the county. Of course, people may be thinking from the last winter weather event, roads are a big deal for them. How are roads being prioritized and which streets will get cleared first?
We focus on the primary and emergency routes at the beginning of the storm and keep them open and available for emergency responses. That's probably what we'll be focused on between 6 and sometime in the overnight hours, depending on how fast the snow accumulates. Once the precipitation starts to slow down and we have those roads in good condition, we then move into the residential neighborhoods and begin those using the primary routes in those residential neighborhoods, the routes that provide access to all the little side streets, and then eventually we can get to every residential street in the county. Depending on how much snow there is, sometimes that can happen within the day, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. In this particular event, with the warmer weather, we're not expecting the same sorts of challenges we had in the last event, but the wind may cause us additional challenges with tree damage and might impact our snowplow's ability to see and operate effectively if we do have that heavy wind and heavy snow occurring at the same time overnight.
Yeah, we have our live shot now from the weather commander there, where obviously we see the wet roads. Are there specific areas that might be particularly challenging for snow removal, or it just all depends on what we're going to see tonight?
It all depends on what we're going to see. Usually the most challenging areas, if we have significant snow accumulation, are neighborhoods where there's a lot of on-street parking. because sometimes those parked cars can make it difficult for the plows to navigate on the street. So we would ask our residents to park their cars only on the even side of the street if they're able to do that today, and to make sure they park as close to the edge of pavement or curb as they can so that the street is as clear as possible for plowing. Also, as I've heard you mention many times this morning, if people can shovel early tomorrow before the snow gets packed down, and that will help us return to normal operations and for walking routes to schools to be available.
Speaking of schools, obviously that could also be impacted by tomorrow. How is the county communicating updates to the public during the storm?
We're communicating updates about transportation on our snow portal, which is available on the Montgomery County Department of Transportation website. That will give residents information about any changes to transit service, parking operations in our parking lot districts, and also the status of plowing. In terms of schools, we'll be communicating with schools, I imagine, tomorrow morning as they work to clear all the school sites and school buses. The decision about school status is theirs, not ours, but we do coordinate and try to share information about the status of county roads to inform their decisions.
Additional resources in Montgomery County. Director Chris Conklin from the Montgomery County Department of Transportation, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this break. Now to the latest on the Potomac sewage crisis. This weekend, President Donald Trump approved FEMA disaster relief for D.C. as cleanup and repair efforts continue amid the ongoing environmental crisis. It comes nearly a month after the Potomac interceptor collapsed, sending hundreds of millions of gallons of wastewater into the Potomac. D.C. Water now estimates repair costs could reach $20 million. We spoke with an engineering expert who has worked with pipes and repair work on what's now known as the largest spill in U.S. history, and says this incident was a ticking time bomb.
There's probably more sewage going through that line than it was originally designed for. And so when you take that possibility and you add that to the deterioration of the structure due to the presence of sulfuric acid, then you got a kind of a time bomb, ticking time bomb.
The cause of the collapse of the Potomac interceptor is still under investigation. As this winter storm moves into our area, it is wreaking havoc on flight plans. Ahead at 7:30, we'll take a look at the cancellations that we're already seeing. We'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, we are following breaking news at this hour right now down in Mar-a-Lago, where we are learning that a man, an armed person, was shot and killed after entering the security premises of Mar-a-Lago down in Florida. President Donald Trump was in D.C. at this time. Of course, he was hosting the annual governor's dinner last night, and he was not in Mar-a-Lago this morning. But of course, this is a big major event that's just developing just within the last hour. There is a press conference happening right now as we learn the very latest down in Florida.
Two pieces of equipment that he had with him, at which time he put down the gas can, raised the shotgun to a shooting position. At that point in time, the deputy and the two Secret Service agents fired their weapons and neutralized the threat. He is deceased at the scene. I'll give you a picture of the shotgun and the gas can to have with you. So that's what we know now. Investigation continues. The FBI is the lead investigation agency on this case, and we will be assisting them in whatever manner they would like. And they will be responsible for answering any other questions at an appropriate time. Agent Skiles, thank you, sir.
Good morning. Again, my name is Brett Skiles. I'm the Special Agent in Charge for the FBI's Miami Field Office. First of all, I'd like to thank the Secret Service and Palm Beach Sheriff's Office for their quick response in this matter and close collaboration. Since this area of the shooting was under Secret Service protection at the time, the FBI is assisting the investigation. Currently, our evidence response team is processing the scene, collecting evidence, and we'll continue to work the scene for as long as it takes. One thing I would ask the public is if you live in the area of the shooting, please check your exterior cameras for last night, early this morning. If you see anything that looks suspicious or out of place, please contact us at 1-800-CALL-FBI or contact the West Palm Beach Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Rafael Barros. I'm the Special Agent in charge of Secret Service Miami Field Office. Earlier today, two special agents from the Secret Service and a deputy from the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office were involved in an officer-involved shooting while responding to an armed individual at one of the gates at Mar-a-Lago. Preliminary information indicates that the individual was armed with a shotgun and a possession of a gasoline canister. Agents and the deputy discharged their firearms to stop the threat. At this time, no law enforcement personnel were injured during the incident. We want to be clear, the President of the United States was not in the state of Florida. And this remains an active investigation by the FBI. Thank you.
Okay, this is the picture that I'm going to give you of the shotgun and the gas can, so you got it with us. All right, so you'll have that. Like I said, there's a lot more investigation to be done. FBI is the lead agency. We'll be assisting them. And fortunately, nobody was in jeopardy inside because of the quick action that was taken by the deputies and the Secret Service. All right, do we have any relative questions?
Can you hold up that photo again of the gun?
Yeah, we're going to give it to you. All right? Okay, that's it for today. Say that again, ma'am? There's two agencies involved. Sheriff's Office, Secret Service. Well, that's under investigation right now. Okay?
Was this person known to law enforcement prior to the incident?
Not right now.
Can you clarify where on the perimeter it happened? You mentioned
At
by
the
the
gate.
gate?
Yeah.
At the front gate over there?
Yep.
Okay.
They're the north side.
North side. Were they inside of the gate or no?
He was just inside the inner perimeter, yes. All right?
Was anyone involved wearing body cameras?
Pardon me?
Was anyone wearing body cameras?
Yes, we always do.
Were any words exchanged between the officers?
Only words that we said to him was drop the items, which means the gas can and the shotgun.
But the suspect never spoke.
He put the gas can down and pointed the shotgun at the officers.
Was the shotgun loaded? The shotgun loaded?
I don't know.
How many shots were fired?
Don't know that either yet. It's part of the investigation. Okay, folks, thanks for being here. That's it.
All right, so that's the latest information from the press conference there in Florida after Secret Service is reporting that an armed man, a man with a shotgun and a gasoline canister, had been shot and killed earlier this morning. That's after breaching the security perimeter in Mar-a-Lago. They are saying that this happened by the front gate of Mar-a-Lago. You just heard from officials there earlier. FBI and Secret Service obviously there on scene. Officials saying that they told this person, who they believe to be in his early 20s, this person's name has not been released, telling him to drop the items before, according to the sheriff, that person then pointed the shotgun towards the gate. Eventually, shots were fired from Secret Service, and this man was killed. Of course, we will be following the very latest and any developments that may be coming down from Palm Beach County, Florida, where, again, one man was shot and killed as a result of entering the security premises of Mar-a-Lago. All right, we want to bring you back now to our weather impact alert day coverage, where that is our big story here in the D.C. region. We're taking a look at radar this morning as tens of millions across the Northeast, including the DMV, brace for a winter storm that could bring blizzard conditions to our south and wet snow accumulation to many in our region. Good morning. I'm Matthew Torres. Our team coverage of this winter weather impact alert continues now at 9:30. This latest storm system continues just about a month after our last winter storm. Our team has everything you need to know to plan your day, stay safe, and prepare for the week ahead. Meteorologist Daniel Johnson joins us now with your hour-by-hour breakdown of what to expect as this winter weather moves into the DMV. Daniel, how's it looking outside right now?
That's right. Good morning to you. Yeah, a lot of rain out there on this Sunday morning, so just really a gloomy start to the day, and the roads are wet. So if you do have to go out in the next few hours, it's overall safe. It's just slippery because of the wet roads, but eventually we'll transition to snow. So let's jump right into your forecast and let you know how much snow we're expecting. I know it doesn't look like a winter storm is here with all the rain, but eventually we will see snow later on today. And once it starts falling, it'll fall for several hours, and we're expecting a general 3 to 6 inches across the area with higher totals to the north. So areas that'll get closer to the 6 is probably Gaithersburg, Frederick, Westminster, maybe totals higher than 6, Annapolis, maybe south down toward Fredericksburg, Orange, Luray, just an inch or 2, perhaps 3. So again, higher totals the farther north you live, and then lower amounts to the south. Futurecast does try to mix in a few flakes into the area late this morning and right around lunchtime, but overall we stay rain until this afternoon and evening. And look at this, by dinner time, everyone is snow. That snow continues through the midnight hour. Then it pushes out of here, but when all said and done, a few inches of snow in the forecast. Winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, and yes, for the eastern shore, Delmarva, blizzard warnings. That's where winds could gust to 50 as the snow falls. I'll come back with your 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Daniel, we'll check back in with you later. Taking a live look at Reagan National Airport right now. If you have a flight to catch today, make sure to check the status. Over 2,000 flights have already been canceled, mainly in the Northeast. Here in the DMV, Reagan National has 266 cancellation. Dulles is at 30 and BWI has 176. Those numbers have stayed relatively the same since the last hour. Several airlines, including Delta, America, United, and Southwest, have issued travel advisories and are waiving change fees for passengers whose itineraries are affected. Well, as this wintry mix makes its way across our communities, we are tracking the conditions in your neighborhood. Our Melissa Kim has been in the Weather Commander all morning long. Melissa, I understand you're in Montgomery County. Hopefully you were able to get that cup of coffee from earlier today. What's it looking like there where you are?
Not quite yet, because we've been working hard for you, right, Matthew? But we will get to our coffee eventually. But we have pretty much traversed up from the Rockville area, North Bethesda, through Rockville, Gaithersburg, and now we're hitting Clarksburg, which Rockville Pike turns into Frederick Road below here. But this is what the road looks like right now. Again, as you mentioned earlier, or as Daniel mentioned earlier, it's been all rain all day here, heavier at times. It has lightened up, I would say, in the last hour or so as we've moved north through Montgomery County. But listen, it seems like people are generally heeding the warnings that we've been giving them in terms of, driving slowly, being a little bit more cautious, because the roads are very slick. I know that we're all worried about snow right now, but the rain is obviously making these roads quite slick. And so people are out running their morning errands, going to church on this Sunday morning. But again, if you have to do anything today, do it like now or in the next couple of hours or so, before the weather gets a little bit more dicey. And we did hear earlier from State Highway Administration officials who say they are ready to go for anything that happens today. And as we've been mentioning all morning, Maryland Governor Wes Moore has declared a state of preparedness to make sure that everybody is ready. I think, listen, a lot of people have a little bit of a snow hangover, we'll call it, from the January storm. Let me see if we can show you here. There are still some piles of the snowcrete out on the roads here, and some more in the more rural areas here than as opposed to the busier areas. But again, I think that the best advice that we can give you for today is to stay inside. It's cold out anyways. It's raining. It's kind of miserable. I think gross is what we were calling it earlier too. So if you don't have to go out at all, it's a nice Sunday to stay inside, and then we'll see what happens between today, tonight, and tomorrow once the Monday workday and school day hits. Let me show you the front of the road. That's a little bit better. So again, as you can tell, it's a little bit shiny. You can see how slick the roads are here. So again, if you have to be out at all, just make sure you're being careful. Use common sense. Just take it slow. It's Sunday. Why are you in a rush anyways? Right, Matthew?
Words of wisdom from Melissa Kim. Make sure to tune into her podcast for other advice. Hey, thank you so much. If there's any good news, it's not going to be that Snowcrete event that we saw in January. So Melissa, thank you so much for your work this morning. Well, as a reminder, now is a good time to download our free WUSA9 app. If you haven't already, we made it easy for you. Just scan the QR code there on your screen, then get our latest forecast at your fingertips whenever you need it.
What to expect for the rest of your day today: rain through your lunch hour, eventually transitioning to some heavy wet snow for several hours starting around dinner time and just past the midnight hour tonight. So stay off the roads later on tonight. We're expecting hazardous travel through Monday morning. Your detailed forecast next.
This WUSA9 Weather Impact Alert is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
All right, rain across the area this morning, transitioning to snow later on this evening and into tonight. It's a nor'easter, a classic coastal storm, just getting its act together right now. That low pressure will be forming off the coast of North Carolina and then moving up the coast toward New England later on today, really gaining strength. And as the coastal storm strengthens, it's going to drag down some cooler air to the north. Heavier precipitation will build in, and that will allow us to transition from rain to snow. Right now, though, it is just rain across the area. We're getting a little bit of a break right now through Prince William, southern Fairfax, over into Prince George's County and into D.C. with just some light drizzle. Overall, it's just some light rain, but there is some snow already for portions of 66 and 81 as we head out west toward northern Fauquier County. Some of the higher elevations across the Blue Ridge seeing some snow, some snowflakes trying to mix in toward Westminster and toward Frederick and Hagerstown as well. And it will continue to get colder through the day, and that's why we're going to see that transition. So weather impact alert in effect across the entire area from noon today, so just in a matter of hours, until 6 o'clock in the morning Monday. And of course, it's for the rain turning to heavy snow, and it will be a heavy wet snow. So the opposite of the snowcrete we had in January when we had fluffy snow and then sleet and freezing rain on top of that, which just kind of caked everything in. And the cold air moved in and lingered and kept that snow around. This is the opposite. It's going to be a heavy wet snow, which has problems of its own. It can weigh down some trees, so isolated power outages can't be ruled out. The winds are going to pick up just a little bit as well, so that could add to potential power outages. But again, we're not expecting widespread outages, just isolated outages. And the cold weather is not going to linger. It's going to get warmer over the next few days, which will melt the snow pretty quickly. Most of the snow accumulation we're expecting will be later on tonight. And try to limit your time on the roads, or just stay off the roads if you can tonight and Monday morning. And of course, grab that winter gear. All right, winter alerts in effect across the area. There are several winter weather advisories in effect for the immediate metro, where totals will be a little bit lower compared to other spots. Winter storm warnings in effect for the counties in white, and that's for mainly areas to the north. The counties in orange out across the eastern shore, those are blizzard warnings. It's been a while since those areas have had blizzard warnings, or at least a good amount of blizzard warnings. And the reason why? Well, heavy snow. We're expecting gusty winds upwards of 45 to 55 miles per hour. That is definitely going to reduce visibility to below the threshold of a quarter mile. So here's a more specific timeline of what we're expecting through the day today. So between 6 and noon, so this is where we are right now in this time frame, just plain rain, but some snow in the mountains and right around I-81, and we're seeing that right now. No accumulation in the metro, just plain wet roads with temperatures above freezing. As we move toward the noon hour and we approach dinner time, that's when we'll really start to notice the rain switching to snow. It will pick up in intensity and become heavy. It'll start to accumulate in the metro by dinner time, but just a trace to maybe an inch or two, with temperatures still slightly above freezing. And then here we go. Sunday, 6 p.m. to midnight. This is the time frame when we're expecting most of the accumulation. 2 to 4 inches will fall at this time, and the roads will become snow covered, especially side streets as temperatures get closer to the freezing mark. And then heading into midnight through 6 o'clock in the morning Monday, just a few lingering light snow showers, and that'll be the case through noon on Monday as well, with temperatures in the 30s. So the futurecast will time it out in more detail. By 3, 4, 5 o'clock, we're transitioning to snow, some heavy snow at times through 6, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, still snowing around midnight. Then it's out of here. And we could even see some peaks of sunshine, believe it or not, into your Monday morning. So, quick look at that snowfall total, 3 to 6 for a good portion of the area.
Thank you. And as we continue to track the impact and scale of this winter weather system, we want to answer your questions about how state officials are preparing for the storm. Maryland Governor Wes Moore has already declared a state of preparedness, directing the Departments of Emergency Management, Law Enforcement, and Transportation to work together in a coordinated effort to anticipate and respond swiftly to whatever this winter weather may dish out. Joining us now is Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration Deputy Director Charlie Gisler. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. I know you do this time and time again, especially when we get winter weather events such as this one. Now that we have the governor's state of preparedness declaration, how does that help impact as far as MDOT's mobility efforts ahead of the storm?
When the governor talks, people listen, so we want to tell people to, if you don't have to drive, stay off the roadways. That gives us the room to operate. Now, remember, we only operate, the Maryland State Highway Administration only maintains the state-numbered non-tolled highways and interstates. So we don't maintain the neighborhood roads or the city roads, but we're all kind of in this thing together. It's, we couldn't pre-treat because the pavement temperatures are well above freezing, and anything falling right now is rain. So that would wash any kind of pre-treatment material off of the roadways. So we're just going to have to fight this thing like old school state highway. So we're going to be out there until this thing moves off the coast. But as the meteorologist was just saying, there's going to be a wind component after this. So you got to watch for power outages, down trees, tree limbs, that type of thing. If you do come across an intersection that does not have an operational traffic signal, you have to treat it as a four-way stop. Also, we want folks to clear their entire vehicle off, not just the window surfaces. And also, if you can clear your sidewalk off so pedestrians and other people that are non-motorized, scooters and that type of thing can operate as well if it's, safely.
You bring this up, and of course, the main roads that's the priority for you guys. As far as prioritizing these roads, what's different this time around, maybe compared to the last storm you saw?
Well, every storm is a little bit different. Okay, so every one of our crews, we have about 2,300 pieces of equipment we can deal with. We can supplement that more like we did last time because that was a heck of a storm with all that freezing temperatures and the sleet on top of it. But every one of the drivers has a route that takes about 90 minutes. So in the overnight hours tonight, we're going to have snow bands that may produce an inch or two an hour. So we could go through, and then when we come back, it's snow covered again. So what we recommend is if you don't have to travel, please stay home, curtail it. But we do understand some people do have to travel, probably such as yourself. So you want to go to roads.maryland.gov. There you have access to hundreds of live traffic cameras, a real-time incident page, and access to our storm application, statewide transportation operations resource map that shows you where the equipment is currently and a 30-minute history. So you could take all that data and make a good transportation plan, a safe one.
Yeah, Charlie, you're right. We are all probably having to travel, hopefully straight home where we can be cozy and under a blanket, right?
That would be ideal in every circumstance. But, again, we have to be out. The counties have to be out. The cities have to be out. You have to be out in the media. And most importantly, our first responders, our fire, police, and EMS, we have to keep lanes open in case somebody's having an emergency. So that's all things to consider. So if you can curtail travel, that'd be great.
Charlie Gisler, thank you so much with MDOT, and stay safe and good luck today as well.
And you as well. Take care.
Thank you. And we are also, as we brought earlier today, still following the breaking news that's happening this hour out of Palm Beach County, Florida, where the Secret Service is reporting an armed man has been shot and killed after searching the secure perimeter in Mar-a-Lago. We just heard from the Secret Service about 20 minutes ago. They are not identifying that person right now, but says it was a man in his early 20s. This happened around 1:30 this morning. We do know President Trump was in D.C. at this time after hosting the Governors Association dinner last night. We are being told this person was holding a shotgun when he was shot and killed. We will continue to stay on top of this developing news and bring you any new updates as we learn them. A live look outside. Dan is back with our final check of the weather impact alert. We'll be right back. Learning how to pick crabs is part of life for many Marylanders. And at 87 years old, a woman who goes by Hurricane Hazel can pick them faster than most people can eat them. Megan Knight has the story.
The new number is Hazel Cropper. Hurricane Hazel.
They come from far and wide to the small town of Crisfield to meet the master of crab picking. 87-year-old Hazel Cropper, aka Hurricane Hazel, is a legend when it comes to cleaning out a blue crab. But don't give her the credit for this specialized skill.
I thank God. He's the one supplying me. I don't take credit for myself. I thank God that I learned.
She suffered a small stroke last summer, but it's had no effect on her ability to pick a crab, which she learned at the age of 9 from her grandmother.
When I first started as a young child, they had a soda crate and the crayfish in my chair that I was sat on, and that gave me the height of the grown pickers.
It quickly became